Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more slug testing, and today we've got another very interesting combination to try out. We've tested these slugs once before through a rifled barrel, but not through a smooth bore yet, so I'm definitely curious to see what they can do, because they may be rather impressive, or they may be a little bit disappointing as well. We're just gonna have to see. But as for the shells I've got today, I brought out some of these. The Remington Slugger Managed Recoil slugs. They are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 1 ounce slug, moving about 1200 feet per second. So the same 1 ounce projectile that's in their normal sluggers, but loaded to a much lower velocity. And yes, I can attest, these are much lower recoil than your typical 2 3/4 12 gauge slug is as well. So they're very nice to shoot. When we ran these through my 870 with the rifled barrel, I think they did okay, but I don't think they were anything super outstanding either. But like I mentioned a second ago, we have not run them through a smooth bore yet, which is probably a little bit more towards what they were designed for, so we'll see what they can do. But as for the setup we're going to run them through, I brought out my Remington 870, but this one's got a smooth bore on it. It's a 24-inch barrel, and we're going to be running the stock improved cylinder choke, which is what a lot of rifled slugs like that suggest, so we should be good there. Up on top is a Hawk Vantage 3 to 9 by 40 with their muzzleloader slug gun reticle and stuff in it. A lot of eye relief, and I've really been enjoying this scope so far. As far as other things to note, yes, we do have a receiver mounted rail on this one. The barrel is not pinned to the receiver. It is just held on by your traditional mag cap here. As for how I have that set up, I went to hand tight and then took it 3 extra clicks past hand tight, and I scored it with a few witness marks so we can see if it comes loose, because that pretty much controls the tension on the barrel into the receiver. It's been perfect so far, so I'm not concerned about it. Everything should be good to go here, but we'll see what this combo can actually do with these managed recoil sluggers. But as for today's test, we're going to do it the same as we typically do with these slug tests. We're going to shoot 2 groups, one at 50 and one at 100. Both are going to be 3 shots each, and all of them will be through the chronograph as well. Now, these are a low recoil slug. They're probably more so designed for just a range day or a home defense type of scenario, but it does mention that they would be great for taking a kid hunting, getting them into shotgun hunting and stuff like that on the box. So are we pushing them maybe a little bit farther than what we might in an actual hunting scenario? Maybe, but we'll see what they can do at the typical 50 and 100 yards. This isn't a perfect test, both in the amount of shots we're going to take and with what we're doing with those managed recoil slugs, but it at least will give us somewhat of an idea of if this combo is even usable or decent at all. So we'll see what happens. But let's get you guys a view of those targets. We'll take our groups, then bring everything back here to the bench and see how it all did. Alright, so let's take a peek at our velocities here real quick before we look at our target, because we had to make a quick change of plans there when it comes to accuracy, that's for sure, but we'll get there here in a second. The boss claim was 1200 feet per second. From our 24-inch barrel, I don't think we were quite seeing that number, so they possibly tested it through a 26 or 28, but for a high, we had 1156. For a low, we had 1119. That gave us an average of 1136, with an extreme spread of 37, and a standard deviation of 12. So 1136, that's what, 64 feet per second under their boss claim. So they probably tested it through a little bit longer barrel, but here is your energy number for a 1 ounce slug at 1136, so you can see what kind of muzzle energy we still do have, although it's definitely far less than a 16 or 1800 feet per second velocity one, that's for sure. But now let's head over to our target, and I think we got a little bit different story to look at over there. All right, well, here's our target, and yeah, we could not hit the broadside of a barn with these. The plan was to shoot a group at 50 yards over there on the left, and then move over to the right-hand target and shoot a 100-yard group while using that top orange dot as an aiming point, since I knew we were probably going to have bullet drop at that low of a velocity. However, that plan did not work out. So after seeing this first group over here on the left, I just said, heck with it, we'll stay at 50 yards and take another group, finish the box and a half that I have out here, and see what they can do, because it is not super impressive. And now that's got me rethinking, were these one of the terrible performers out of my rifled barrel as well? I know we had one low recoil slug that was terrible, and I can't remember off the top of my head if this was it or not, but I'm sure I'll jump in editing and say one way or the other. And jumping in here and editing, it turns out that they performed so terribly that I didn't ever even upload the video of them through my rifled barrel. So yeah, now this makes sense. Either way, we'll start on the left with our first 50-yard group. And for impacts, we had one here, we had one here, we had one at the very top edge of the paper up here, and we had another one that completely missed above the paper somewhere. So that is completely terrible right there. But from the 3 shots that we did have on paper, we had 5.60, and that is from this hole to this top hole up here. We know it's larger than that because we missed the target at least once there as well. At 50 yards, that's completely horrible. And the slugs are flying stable. They're putting direct bullet holes in the paper, so nothing out of the ordinary there. We'll move over to the right with our other 50-yard target, and since we were hitting high, I decided I would hold for this bottom red dot right down here, and we had 2 bullet holes here, another one here, another one over here, and then this guy all the way at the top here. All of these holes, I was aiming at this same red dot right down here at the bottom. So we were way high with a slug that has lower velocity, and we could not hold a group to save our lives. And as far as that spread goes, 6.15 is as far as my calipers will go, and we still probably have about another inch of spread. So call it about 7 inches on that group. Once again, absolutely terrible. That is not at all what I was expecting to see. Even if it wasn't great for accuracy, 5, 6, 7 inches at 50 yards is horrible. And I can already see it now. There's going to be 2 comments. There's going to be one questioning the shotgun, and the next is going to say, hey, you're doing something that they're not designed to do. They're supposed to be close home defense type of ammunition. And for those people, the shotgun is perfect. I already checked it. Everything on it is perfectly fine. Nothing loose, nothing out of the ordinary. So we're good there. And I just filmed a test where we were getting a little bit over an inch group at 50 yards with that same shotgun setup 10 minutes ago. So I know that's not a problem. As far as the home defense scenario for these, yes, that's probably a little bit more of the design use, but they did claim that they would be great for taking a child out hunting when they're getting in the shotgun hunting. Right on the box. So you would expect a little better than this. Even out to 50 yards, these should be better, I would imagine. So for me, if I'm going to use these, it's going to either be at a range day or for a home defense scenario if I ever decided that I wanted to use a slug for that. But as far as accuracy and hunting and stuff like that, this combo is not the one I'm going to want, that's for sure. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that test right there? Those are some pretty disappointing results, to say the least. I mean, that's terrible. There's no other way to put it. And like I mentioned a second ago, even if I didn't have super high expectations coming into it, I would have imagined that we would have seen better results than that. I mean, if we can't even hold a, baseball size group at 50 yards, that's when you know that you've got a pretty disappointing combination on your hands. We've seen this same exact setup, put 3 of them pretty much touching each other easily at 50 yards with multiple different slugs. So these are just terrible, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. So definitely a little bit of a surprising result, something I did not really expect to see. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is it about what you expected? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you ever tested any of these Remington Managed Recoil sluggers when it comes to accuracy? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Is this a combination you would ever actually use for anything other than just range day plinking or maybe 7-10 yard home defense type of scenarios? Is there some other idea that you think happened here as to why they went wrong? I mean, technically, they are pretty much right on that super and subsonic line, so maybe they are being finicky in accuracy where one might be just a touch over and immediately goes into subsonic and the next might be all subsonic or something like that. I have no idea, but let me know your thoughts down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.